Hey everyone, it's Kirk McLean here, and you're watching Clay's Canucks Commentary.
Hey Canucks fans, and welcome to Clay's Canucks Commentary Live, presented to you by Vancity Experts Real Estate. It sounds a little bit tingy. I'm going to check my microphone. Give me 1 second, you guys. Give me 1 second. Oh yeah, because I'm not using the right thing. It sounds way better now. So let's try this again. You can tell it was a good weekend. And actually, I don't know why. I don't have any excuse because I did absolutely nothing today, but I'll get into it. Welcome everyone to Clay's Canucks Commentary Live, presented to you by Vancity Experts Real Estate. I'm your host, Clay, emo Canuck Clay, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It is Sunday night, January the 19th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. I can tell that a lot of you are really interested in following this team right now. Maybe you're interested in the topic, and I'll talk about why I'm okay talking about it now where I wasn't 2 weeks ago. But first and foremost, welcome everyone. Moderators, do what you need to do to keep this a safe and respectful place. Members, that's legends, Hall of Fame, and franchise members. First and foremost, I just posted a video just for you, my weekly Ask Me Anything video. I published that about half an hour ago, so make sure you check it out if you haven't checked it out already. But legends, Hall of Fame, and franchise members, thank you for your support. And to everyone else, no matter where you're watching from, whether my beautiful neighborhood of Steveston and Richmond, in the city, Lower Mainland, province, country, continent, around the world, thank you for being here. You know that you could be watching anyone else, doing anything else, getting ready for work, school, or bed, or all three. But the fact that you're here with me, know how much I always appreciate you and how I never, ever take you for granted. So this is how you can get involved tonight. You can subscribe to the channel, get active in the chat section, get notified by my videos. You can like the video, like the fact that we were together, like the fact that Canucks beat the Edmonton Oilers 3-2 last night, like the fact that Connor Garland basically tackled Connor McDavid and kept him out of the game for the last 30 seconds, took a cross check to the face for his efforts, but we'll talk about that. Like the fact that Canucks had Dice and Ice tonight, like the fact that we are continuing to build what I think is the best Canucks community here on YouTube. You can leave a donation, get the donation train out of the station. You can gift a membership, and I'll be doing that a little bit later in the show. You can buy your own membership. You can upgrade your own membership. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, you can use your monthly membership message, your Triple M. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure you rate and review. So really quickly, very, very quickly, I'll review my weekend. It'll take like 2 minutes. It won't be that long at all. Then I want to talk about the Canucks, of course, because it's Clay's Canucks Commentary. I want to talk a little bit about Dice and Ice that took place tonight. Talk a bit about last night's game. Talk about JT Miller, and then give away a couple of memberships, and then throw it over to all of you. So this weekend was pretty chill for me, and I loved it. Well, Friday and Sunday were chill. Friday night, I just took it easy at home. Started 2 different movies with Gail, and we didn't finish either of them because Gail gets all excited for the first few minutes of a movie, and then she just falls asleep. So that's okay. I have some stuff that I can catch up on for the rest of the week. Saturday was pretty busy. I worked during the day. Then I then worked at my church, and then watched the game, of course, the Canucks versus Oilers game. And then I got to make a goal review video that a bunch of Oilers fans found and left their comments on, which is fine. I guess all engagement is good engagement. And then that was yesterday. And then today, did absolutely nothing with my big work event out of the way, caught up on my church stuff. You guys know I finished my studying. So I got to watch 2 NFL football games today, and I never do that. Just took it easy, fell asleep during one of them, but just took it easy today, drove Kayla around to a couple of her appointments. Gail and I went out for a nice dinner, Japanese food, because I went to church last night, went to Walmart, set up for the week, and then recorded my members, Ask Me Anything, and then, of course, set up for this show. So if I look relaxed, it's because I am. I'm not stressed about anything. There's no busy, crazy things coming up on my schedule.
If I sound relaxed, it's because I am, and hopefully that doesn't make me sharp. Not sharp, or hopefully doesn't make me complacent on this stream. So glad to see everyone here, and I kind of go in order of what I want to talk about. So let's talk about last night's game first, then let's talk about Dice and Ice, and then let's talk about JT Miller. So last night's game, I'd say Quinn Hughes, Thatcher Demko, and JT Miller were the best players on the ice. Hughes had the 2 goals. The first one, Garland sold like he scored, but no, it was Quinn Hughes' goal. I thought Thatcher Demko, even though he had to face only 15 or 16 shots, many of them were really, really high quality. I think of the Ekholm chance in the third. I think of the Hyman chance in the first. And then there was some that mad scramble the last 2 minutes, or last minute and a half, was just a crazy. So I thought Demko played well as well. And I thought JT Miller was great. I think he went 18-5 in the faceoff circle, which is amazing. He had 2 assists, both Hughes goals. Generally hard matched against Connor McDavid all game. And I thought JT Miller had his best game since the game where he had 4 points against the Montreal Canadiens. So a lot of good, secondary scoring, Danton Heinen. Generally, the power play looked way better than it has been. Penalty kill was all right. Leon Draisaitl scored from where he always scores from. That I don't know how he does it. And I talked about that in my goal review video, how he always scores. He can score from an impossible angle, goalie's left, right wing side, along the goal line. But that's why he's leading the NHLs in goals this season. And I don't know about you guys, but the 3-0 lead was great as opposed to giving up a 3-0 lead. Then as Edmonton started to chip away in the second, and you heard some Edmonton Oilers fans at the arena, you just felt that maybe, given the Canucks' fragile state of confidence, that maybe Edmonton was going to come back and catch up. And to the Canucks' credit, they played very well in the third period, limiting the Edmonton Oilers to only 3 shots. Hey Ash, no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you bringing this up, and I'm going to talk about that in a couple of minutes when I talk about JT Miller. But I'll come back. I'll just in case I don't find your comment a little bit later. Your title, surprising, disheartening. Titles like that empower the toxic media and fans narrative, which runs stars out of the city through scrutiny. JT came from leave and has been harassed since then. I totally appreciate your sentiment. I don't necessarily agree with it, not because I'm not defensive at all, but I've talked a lot about this in the past 3 weeks. So, I'll come back to it for sure. But I appreciate you sharing that. Okay, so overall solid win by the Canucks, and of course we saw what happened in the last 30 seconds. Edmonton pulled their goalie. Connor Garland tackled Connor McDavid in the slot, and then basically tried to UFC ground and pound, stay on top of him. And then McDavid escaped with only a couple seconds left, then cross-checked Garland in the face. Meanwhile, on the side, I saw this right away, but the commentators didn't. But I know they were fixated on McDavid and Garland, but I saw this too. In fact, the ref behind the net reacted more to Myers and Bouchard. Myers hit Bouchard. Bouchard took a slash at Myers. Then Myers cross-checked Bouchard, whether you call it the neck or the chin, as well. So then it took so long to sort out all the match penalties and the cross-checking and the game misconducts, because it wasn't just one incident they're talking about, the McDavid Garland one. They were actually talking about the other one as well, the Myers and the Bouchard one. Hey, I missed you, Andrew. I will get to you in a second. Thank you. I just want to finish this thought first. Connor on Connor violence. Exactly, Tony. Okay, so let me just get back to this, and then I will definitely get back to Andrew's. Actually, no, let me recognize it right now before I forget. So nice to have the legend back in our midst. Legendary Andrew Chang with the big $14 donation gets the donation train out of the station. So Andrew, $14. Good evening, boys and girls. Did anyone miss me? A horrible spelling of the word missed. Not the proper grammar, but it's okay. I love you just the same, Andrew. Thank you for being here. You know I love you. Thank you for the donation. I missed you for sure, and I got your email, Andrew, about the game. I will get back to you. I'll reply to you formally. But yes, let's give Andrew some love in the chat. Okay. So then Wes McCauley, our favorite ref, and remember, he was busy. He was calling all those penalties against Edmonton in the first period, then all those penalties against the Canucks in the second period. He basically says match penalty on McDavid. No, he said 97 Edmonton, match penalty for 53 Vancouver, and then minors to everyone else on the ice. So they weren't really part of the scrum, but Draisaitl, well, they're part of the scrum, but they didn't do anything. So Draisaitl, Hyman, Bouchard for getting cross-checked face, Garland, Petey, JT Miller, all these guys were thrown out for the last 2 seconds, and not just thrown, not going to the penalty box. They just sent them to the locker rooms. Match penalty is interesting. A match penalty means game misconduct, but it goes in the records as a 10-minute misconduct, a 10-minute penalty, and then it's treated like a 5-minute major. So, but they're offsetting. Of course, it was firstly, it was 2.3 seconds left. Secondly, it was offsetting. Myers got one and McDavid got one. So all to say that we will find out. We know that there's going to be hearings for both Myers and McDavid. I guess I could have put a poll question, but I won't change it now. It was basically, do you think they're going to get the same amount of suspension? My first reaction was yes. And then some are saying that they hope that McDavid doesn't get off easy because he's a star and because Edmonton has to play against, Washington. So there's that. And they want the Ovechkin versus McDavid matchup. Some are saying that Myers' cross-check was more brutal than the McDavid's. And not just Oilers fans saying it. I've seen it from a lot of people. Some Oilers fans are saying that McDavid shouldn't get suspended because of what Garland did to him in the first place. But that argument obviously doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter what Garland did to him. It's not like Garland cross-checked him. So whether you look at McDavid and the Myers thing separately or say that they're both equally egregious, that's Rick Tockett's favorite word, egregious, we'll see. We'll see. In my first reaction video last night when I did the goal breakdown, but I did reflect on the skirmish, I said I wouldn't be surprised if both guys get 1 or 2 games. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be 1 or 2 games. Actually, I'm really glad that I saw this from. Glad I saw this from Justin. Heard food poisoning was the reason for Miller's absence tonight. Verified by several media guys who also got sick. That is, I'm really glad Justin, I'm glad you were here to say that before I went into, I don't go into, speculation or conspiracy mode, but I'm just trying to see Tocchet. And yeah, I know Tocchet wasn't there as well. Food poisoning rumor. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Justin, where did you see that? I've just looked on X, but of course X isn't the only place. But Justin, this is a very important part of the story. But I'd love to hear, where you heard that, because I'm going to get into that now. So just to wrap up that about the Canucks game, then. So we will see. We will see what suspensions come, if any. I think there's going to be at least a game, if not 2, for both players, and that would mean that both, if it's 2 games, both will not be eligible to play against each other when the Canucks do the rematch in Edmonton on Thursday night. And I think you would agree with me that the Canucks would come out on the better end of that exchange. Dio Fiasco. Here's a name I haven't seen in a while, but I love it. Sorry, is it Dio as in D-I-O, or is it D-Lo as in J-Lo? But it's not J-Lo. D-Lo Fiasco. I miss bubble hockey in general. Every series and team was fresh. Tell me you didn't have fun as a Canucks fan without telling me otherwise. Make it like the NFL where every game mattered. Okay, there's a lot there. Firstly, thank you for the $10 donation. Let's give some love to D-Lo Fiasco. And we appreciate you being here. Your 20th super on the live stream. I don't think all 20 here. But we, grateful that you were here and grateful for the donation. Thank you. And yes, bubble hockey, it was fun. It was fun from a Canucks fan perspective because they take out Minnesota, then take out St. Louis, then they almost take out Vegas and Demko. That was the birth of Bubble Demko. I know because it was the pandemic, I was streaming after every single game, and that really helped grow my channel. So it was that was wonderful to build the community on here. And yeah, that was fun times, you know. And then of course that summer, Toffoli, Edler, Stetcher, and Tanev all leave the team. So that was unfortunate. But thank you for the donation, and thank you for being here. I see a lot of talk in the chat about what Meyer should get, what McDavid should get. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone pitching in. The Honorable James Moore was at Dice and Ice tonight. The Canucks offense in the first versus Edmonton and the shutdown team in the third together is what they need and can do. That consistency can be a cup contender. Yes, but is it too little, too late? But I hear you. I hear you. And James, how was the actual Dice and Ice? Thank you for your messages, throughout the night while you were there. All right, let's talk. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to go through the scores and the standings. Well, actually, I'll just go through the standings real quick. Then I'll talk about Dice and Ice and JT Miller, because there are no scores that really affected the Canucks tonight, because really all we care about are the teams around them in the standings. Actually, I'll just show you. It'll take 2 seconds. Ottawa beats New Jersey. The Rangers lose to Montreal Canadiens. Montreal continuing their strong play. And then Dallas takes out the Detroit Red Wings. But around what we care about, nothing really changes. We are 1 point behind Calgary for the final wildcard spot. I don't think catching wildcard one is that realistic right now. Although both teams have 2 games in hand, but still, it's Colorado. And then St. Louis was right behind us, but they lost, whereas Vancouver and Calgary won last night, and they have a couple games more in the games played category. So if you want to include St. Louis in this 3-team race, you can, but I think it will come down to Vancouver and Calgary. Okay, let's talk about Dice and Ice now, and then we'll move into the JT Miller chat. Dice and Ice is the Canucks annual fundraiser, very fancy. It's been at different hotels. This year is at Park, downtown, and it's many. I think the main beneficiary, but James or others can confirm this, is the Canucks Autism Network and other charities that Canucks support. But here we go. Dice and Ice was a great success. Garland told a good joke about the McDavid cross-check. Lots of money raised for sick kids. All the players are great, friendly, and all in a great mood. Well, thank you, James. Thank you for that. It certainly helps that the Canucks won last night. Can you imagine if they had lost? And imagine what kind of mood they would have been in. So glad that James was there. I have never attended, but I have volunteered there twice. And both times that I volunteered there, I had a really, really good time. And I haven't volunteered at that particular event. I won't relitigate the whole story. Many of you have heard me tell it in great detail, or at least hinted at it. I have not volunteered for the last 2 since I've been in timeout from the Canucks. And that's all I'll say right now, because there's 450 people watching right now, 135 on YouTube, another 330 watching on X. So appreciate all of you watching, whether you're watching on YouTube or watching on X. Grateful for all of you being here. So Dice and Ice, I'm glad it was a great success. I know the Honorable James Moore was there among, I saw some others. Dr. Dangles, Tej was there as well. So hopefully it went really well. And yes, from all the pictures and video I've seen on Canuck Social, it looked like it was a great night. Oh, here. So Justin says, apparently players were supposedly asked by some people there about Miller's whereabouts too, and they supposedly said food poisoning, but of course can't verify since I wasn't there. So conspicuous by their absence were JT Miller and Rick Tocchet. Surprised that Rick Tocchet wasn't there, because he's usually really good about these charity things and a big support of it. JT Miller, on the surface, if he was sick, then that is a totally fair reason, of course. And if he wasn't sick and they just thought it would be too much of a distraction for either him or for the team or the event, I would have time for that argument as well. So my stance tonight is not to determine and play detective as to why JT Miller was not at Dice and Ice. And Ash, I'm not sure if you are still in the chat, but I referenced your comment about 5 minutes ago. For the past 3 weeks, I was pretty adamant, and I was pretty staunch in not really talking too much about the supposed rift or dissension between JT Miller and Elias Pettersson. Not because I was trying to deny it or because I didn't want to. Well, actually, I kind of didn't want to talk about it, because to me that's a bit that's kind of a bit of a rumor, that's kind of a bit of innuendo, and it's a bit of speculation. And I didn't really have time for it. I didn't make any individual videos or live streams specifically about that. And that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, before I left actually for my trip. Before I left, that's crazy. That was 3 weeks ago, before I left for my cruise. And then as soon as I got back from my cruise, I didn't really make videos. I addressed it quickly in my streams, but I didn't really make any videos about it or make it a big talking point. Why I think it's different now is I am now and it doesn't matter if you agree with me or not, because I don't think it's a big deal, but I'm just saying the reason why I feel more comfortable talking about now is because we saw all the noise around JT Miller yesterday. And whether you might still say it's still speculation or whatever it may be, but I've always said I trust Elliot Friedman from a national standpoint. I trust Rick Dhaliwal from a local standpoint. And when both of those guys are separately reporting that there is a lot of noise around JT Miller, I think it's not like I don't want to be the only one not talking about it because I'll feel left out. No, I think I can't substantiate. Well, none of us can substantiate anything for sure, but I think that's a little different than talking about an alleged rift in relationship between Miller and Petey. This is about hockey. This is about a transaction. This is about a potential trade that could really affect this team, not just short term and long term. So for me, that's the difference. So that's why I don't mind talking about it right now, because everyone was talking about it yesterday, and it's news. Where I think the Petey and Miller alleged thing rift. Some would say it's news, but to me, that one's a little bit more speculative, but you may agree or disagree, but that's fine. I have no problem if you do. So I would have more ammunition if I knew that JT Miller was asked to stay away from Dyson Ice, or if he refused not to go. But if he was sick, then that adds, a bit of a different wrinkle to it. But the bottom line is we can't deny that there was a lot of noise leading up all yesterday, up until about 2 hours, 3 hours before game time. And then it was, no, he's going to play. And as I mentioned earlier, he played very, very well in the game. And then, there's a lot of people thinking, including myself, saying, is that JT Miller's last game with the Vancouver Canucks? Because it felt like I knew Dyson Ice was tonight. So on one hand, I didn't expect anything to happen today to take away from that and to distract players and team and managers and coaches. But on the other hand, I said, wow, I better stick around close to home just in case news breaks and I want to record or I want to stream. Because because of what I said earlier, I had the availability and the time, the energy to do so. And there actually was very quiet around the team yesterday. But the Canucks don't play today. They don't play tomorrow. They don't play until Tuesday. Tomorrow is more of a work day as opposed to a weekend day. Although I'm sure, GMs and presidents never stop working. But I do think it's interesting that there's 2 days between games as opposed to one. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to hear news as soon as we wake up tomorrow morning. We start to hear news and rumblings about more activity happening around JT Miller. Now, the stories that we heard on Saturday were that the Rangers supposedly were close to making an offer, or they did make an offer. You had rumors that one of the offers included Lafreniere, one offer included Braden Schneider, one offer included, and then Rick Dhaliwal tweeted that maybe he's heard the Dallas Stars are in the mix. So I get it. It's a bit speculative because we don't know this for sure. None of us know for sure. And this Canucks management team has done a pretty good job of keeping everything under wraps. But here's the one thing I will leave with you. Let's say that JT Miller's leave, and that's one thing I will not speculate on, is what his leave was for. And I've spoken to a couple people in here personally when I see you at games about this, is if the Canucks asked JT Miller to waive his no trade clause, whether that was before his leave or after his leave, or as recently as this weekend, yesterday or Friday, if they asked his agent if Miller would waive his no trade, then obviously that's not just rumors. Then there's something there. There's something there. So I want to talk these scenarios through, and then a lot of time for me to get your feedback. And there's like 500 people in here, which is crazy, which I'm grateful for. Even though I just said on Thursday I would stop talking about the numbers of people in these streams. People can figure that out for themselves. Okay, enough of that. if they asked Miller to waive his no trade, no movement before his leave, I could see why that might lead him to go on leave. But I don't think that timing doesn't sound right. So did they ask him after his leave? Well, that timing sounds a little bit more, makes sense. I think that's more consistent with what Miller's agent said. Or was it as recently as the last few days after the horrible performances, not by him, but by the team overall, against Winnipeg on Tuesday night, against LA. So maybe between on Friday and up until the game on Saturday, maybe there was more discussion. Maybe there was an actual request to his agent. I don't know if we're ever going to know, because likely the agent or the Canucks will deny until something happens, if anything happens, but we shall see. So I'm not adding anything. I'm just kind of reacting to what's out there. And I'm happy to turn it over to you to get some of your feedback. So let's do this. I'm going to end the poll question. I haven't been reading any of the comments just because there's a lot been flying through. I want to get through that. I'm going to give away a couple memberships, and then I'll leave the second half of the show to you. So I asked you, do you want the Canucks to trade JT Miller? I said, do you? It was just a opinion question, and 40% of you said I'd prefer them not to. 29% of you said absolutely yes. 17% of you said never ever. And then 12% of you said that's my slight preference. And with every poll, you guys know my style. I give the absolute yes, I give the absolute no, and then I give one answer that leans toward the top and one answer leads to the bottom. So if you add those up, 57% of you are saying don't trade him, or I prefer you not to. And then 41%, because the never adds up to 100, 41% of you are saying yes, trade him, or that's my preference. So basically it's 60-40 is the split right now. Do not trade JT Miller. And last thing I'll say before I go to my mid-show sponsor break is I know I've seen some comments both in the chat and around saying, well, don't trade Miller, trade PD. Elliot Friedman reported that Pettersson has told the Canucks he wants to stay. Maybe Miller has said that too, but it just hasn't come out publicly. He said yesterday, Miller said in his post-game, and to his credit, he faced the media. He said, I'm going to be a Canuck today. I'm a Canuck tomorrow. And then to the effect of something, I'll be a Canuck until I'm not a Canuck anymore kind of thing. So it wasn't the most ringing endorsement. Like, I want to be here. I want to stay. But it wasn't like, get me out of here either. And JT Miller, as a professional, you'd expect him to be just like that, kind of down the middle. By trading PD as opposed to Miller, you're kind of admitting that you shouldn't have signed him to that 11.6, but now is your chance to get out of it, because PD's no trade, no movement clause doesn't kick in until July 1st. And that's not because it was a negotiated aspect of his contract. It's simply because of age. Because PD has not reached 27 years old yet, you can't get no movement until you're 27 years old. The other thought is, Miller has a full no movement, so he'd have to waive it and basically approve a move before the Canucks make it. So obviously, it's very, very complicated. That's why it's been such a fascinating story. So just to wrap this part up, I chose not to talk about the PD Miller dynamic because I thought that was more speculative and almost unfair. Whereas I think the actual hockey ramifications of a hockey trade, I feel more comfortable talking about that. So I'm going to acknowledge this donation, and then I'll go to my mid-show sponsor read. Dilo Fiasco says, I love JT, but he's this modern version of RK, Ryan Kessler. Are we talking about an American center from the Northeast? I trust his management team more so than when we traded for Lucas Pizza. He'll regret it and say it 10 years later. Who will regret it? JT? Regardless, thank you, Dilo Fiasco, for the generous donation. Let's give some love to Dilo Fiasco in the chat. All right, let me do my Mitchell sponsor read first. 600 people in here, which is nuts. You guys like talking about this topic, obviously. I start off my Mitchell sponsor read, as always, by thanking my primary sponsor, and that's Jason Lim of Van City Experts. Thank you to my channel sponsor, Jason Lim of Van City Experts Real Estate. At Van City Experts, their experience, knowledge, and expertise can serve you well in navigating through the real estate market and will help you to choose the best home or condo in the Greater Vancouver area that best suits your and your family's needs. As well, thank you to my secondary sponsor, Coach Patrick Liu, weight loss coach. You can check him out at coachpatricklou.com/clay, as you see at the bottom of the screen. and you can sign up for a free 5-day workout. Also, thank you to Gassy Jet Art, maker of that fine artwork, and thank you to Vessi Footwear. Use the link tinyurl.com/VessiClay and receive a free pair of socks off your next purchase of Vessi shoes. Thanks to everyone who has purchased Canuck Clay merch and supported me that way. You can do so at canuckclay.threadless.com. As well, a reminder that this is how you can get involved in the show tonight. You can subscribe, you can like the video, you can leave a donation like Dilo Fiasco and Andrew Chang have done. You can gift a membership, which I'm going to do in 2 minutes. You can buy your own membership. You can upgrade your own membership. You can use your monthly membership message. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure you rate and review. Finally, here are my shows this week. I want you to hear this loud and clear just so everyone knows what's up. So tonight is tonight. I started at 11. Tomorrow night, no Canucks After Dark because Parker has a hockey game. And you guys might remember we did a poll on the show last week. Do we go earlier on Monday or do we move to Tuesday? And you guys said move to Tuesday. So tomorrow night is just my show only at 11. No Canucks After Dark. Tuesday will be Canucks After Dark at 10 or whenever I get back from bowling, maybe 10:15. It'll be a post-game Canucks versus Sabres. So Tuesday night, it's only Canucks After Dark at 10. We'll probably run until 11, just over 11:15 or somewhere there. So I will not do my own show on Tuesday night because I have to get to church for my holy hour at midnight. So Tuesday, it's only Canucks After Dark. Then I have my regular CCC, no member streams this week. So CCC Wednesday at 11, Thursday at 11. Thursday will actually be a post-game Canucks versus Oilers. So that's my shows for this week. Tonight, so CCC basically Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11. The only show I'm not doing is Tuesday night, but we're doing Canucks After Dark instead at 10 o'clock. Finally, I have a few tickets left for Tuesday night's game, Canucks versus Sabres. Lunar New Year game. So if you're looking for affordable tickets to Tuesday night's game and you want to check out what's going on, Lunar New Year festivities, email me, canuckclay@gmail.com. Again, that's canuckclay@gmail.com. Before I get to all of you, I am going to give away 5 franchise memberships. So let's see what happens right here, right now. It says Canuck Clay gifted 5 memberships. So let's give some love to Canuck Clay in the chat. You don't have to give love to Canuck Clay in the chat. That's weird, the host asking for love, but I just did it anyways. So welcome to franchise membership. Prugel, I've seen that name before. I definitely seen the name Rinketic Sport Agenda before. Pass it to Linden. Yeah, we could have done that a bit more. Indigo Hertz, know that name, and Top 10. So welcome to all 5 of you. Welcome to franchise membership. And I'm glad that you are part, now a greater part of the CCC community. Okay, it's 11:30. Let's go for about 20 more minutes. Because there are so many people, 165 in YouTube, another 450 in X, I simply can't read everyone's comments. So I'm just going to go with questions only. Questions only to start. If Myers does get suspended, who takes a spot in the lineup? Will they have to call someone up from Abbey? I think the only extra defenseman right now is Juleson because they sent Breezeball down. So yeah, they'll probably call Breezeball up now that Branson is down. Oh, sorry. My man, right shot guy. Ignore everything I just said. You still have Hughes, Forbert, and Susie on the left side. So if Myers does get suspended, it's Juleson will slide in with, then there's Hronik and Desharnais. And if Juleson is still day-to-day, then you have to make a decision. You call it Mark Friedman, Cole McWard, someone who plays on the right side. How much do you think teams take into consideration a player's locker room bad attitude versus on? I think it's a bit huge because you could be the best player and have the worst attitude. And I think teammates and coaches will put up with that for a little bit, but it's not a recipe for long-term success. You think there's actual tampering, which nixed an actual trade? That was, I wouldn't go that far, Irwin, but certainly I heard Elliot Freeman say that Canucks have warned other teams about tampering. Hey, Jake, Doodle Hockey, would I do Dougie Hamilton for Miller 1-for-1? I need to know about Hamilton's contract status before I answer that properly. He's having a down year though, right? Hamilton? Or is he having a really good year? I don't even know. And I don't even know if Hamilton plays the left or right side. Someone give me all those stats and then I'll tell you. My gut feeling is no, but I could be convinced. Yes, Juleson is hurt. That was my mistake. Clay, if they trade JT, what would you want back? I'd want back 3 assets. I'd want back a player that can play right now. And I know that's going to be difficult because the whole point is if they trade him to a playoff team, the playoff team's not going to want to give up any assets. And I want I want 2 other combination of prospect and pick. If Miller doesn't want to be traded, he would have flat out and come and said he doesn't want to be moved. That's fair. GGL. Or I think, and didn't you comment on my video last night? Thank you. I think you did. No, we won't hear about the suspensions until likely tomorrow or Tuesday. How you doing? They just announced that they will have hearings. Yeah, Juleson or Friedman. No, Vinny's already in there, Karma. But I see you're saying Vinny will take Myers minutes. I'm going to assume McDavid gets 2. Yes, I talked about that. Yeah, that means he wouldn't play in the rematch. If they trade JT, who would you want back from New Jersey or the Rangers? Nemec from New Jersey and Schneider or Lafreniere from the Rangers as starting points. They kind of have to trade Miller now. It would be hard to put the genie back in the bottle at this point. Once you entertain trades, you probably feel unwanted if you're JT. Yeah, I think if they gone to him and asked him to waive his no move, I think it's very hard to go back. Hockey pool, no changes. Still winning my mums. Still winning my church keeper one. Still near the bottom in my church auction one. Yep, I would take Lafreniere. Do I think they're both get? I don't know for sure, high T, but if they both get 2 games, that wouldn't surprise me, nor shock me, nor kill me, especially because we play them in that second game. If the Canucks mess up a Miller trade, who gets fired first? Harder to fire the president because you got to think that Rutherford was Aquilini's guy. So if it goes completely sideways and it's between these 2 guys, I think Alvin gets fired before Rutherford, right? Viper, New Jersey would never do that. Hughes for JT. Nor will Chicago do Bedard. Dan says Myers can get suspended, not McDavid. Clay, should management be patient? See how Miller and Pettersson do with Willander and defenseman Pettersson. Yeah, I would have no I don't know how bad it is in the room. I'd be fine if actually that they did not make a move after all. And up until last week, I was predicting that they would not move either guy. As of now, he is playing. Shannon hopes that Myers McDavid get the same. Me too. Brad Richardson said Miller was hard on PD and he would break the kid, and now he has. Yeah, I heard that. I saw that. Hamilton is 31-year-old right hand for $9 million till 2028. $9 million a year. So $2 more million for right. No, I don't do it. I don't like 31. I know that's Miller's age. But we already have Hronik for that kind of money. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Do I think JT wants to stay a Canuck? Do I think he does? No, but this is just me. But I do think that he's professional enough where if he doesn't get moved, he will still hopefully play hard. Right, New Jersey would never get a first, and that's it. Hamilton is terrible. Would I do Miller for Schneider and first round pick? Yes, I would. Do you think team would get a bump? Addition by subtraction? Potentially, hoy. Potential. That's always a possibility. Hearing is stated it's going to be over. Call the suspensions for each. It's over phone call. Yes, yeah. Miller for Miller. Keandre Miller is kind of struggling a little bit. Panarin and Fox. Yes, let's do that. The Rangers will do that too. Do you think there's any chance Miller stays after the trade deadline? I do. I don't know what percentage I put. I'd attach maybe 30 to 40%. So not for sure, no. But I kind of swayed a little bit where I think there's just a lot of smoke out there, right? Yeah, the Ryan Kessler thing, exactly. JT trade, would it be like the Laine one where you get barely anything back because both are not good for the locker room? No, I don't think. I've heard, and just what I heard, that the asking price is high for JT Miller. What does it tell you about the way how management had Horvat and Miller? Do you think they regret trading Horvat? Canucks prioritize Miller. Yeah, I don't blame the Canucks for doing it at the time because they thought that Miller was going to be the better and more proficient player than Horvat. I feel bad because I do like Horvat a lot. I feel like he feels like he was betrayed, but it's easy to look back with hindsight. But at the time, I was fine with it actually, as much as I liked Horvat. So some talk about McDavid and Garland, that's fine. And yes, talk it before Rutherford Alvin, that's true. Talk it is not even under contract for next year. Shannon saying JT Miller doesn't want to be traded. Perhaps. Yeah. What will PD do when JT Miller goes, if he goes? Hamilton has a no movement. Pretty sure every Canadian team's not on the list. He makes 9 times 4. Thank you, Viper. Nemec wants out due to wanting ice time. Why doesn't Canuck do a prospect swap since we need D-man? Yeah, but why trade a prospect if you don't have to? But I hear what you're saying. Suspend McDavid 1, Myers 2. McDavid doesn't miss the rematch, but I think they should get the same. Luke Hughes and Mercer. Yes, the New Jersey would do that for sure. Trading Miller is a bad idea. Hey, 7-6. Capo was sinking, now thriving. Yeah, that's true. Capo's done really good in Seattle. PD isn't broken. I like him. No way McDavid gets a fine for the Garland hit. Garland is shorter, so it's his fault. Exactly. It was Garland's fault for being only 5'8". Who would I start in net on Tuesday night? I would go Lankinen against Buffalo, and I'd go back to Demko against Edmonton because he just beat them. PD is fine. Lecker, Mackey, Willander, Miller for Luke. I still don't think New Jersey does it. Yeah, Luke. Sorry, for Jack. Yeah, Jack is a top 5 player in the league. It's supposed to be what PD's supposed to be right now. The hearings are tomorrow. Thank you, Fangirl. I appreciate that. Has our opportunity for the best possible return in Miller trade passes by? I don't know. It's so hard to gauge the market. Maybe the Canucks actively weren't shopping him for the last 2 weeks, so I can't see how the market has moved that much in the last 2 weeks because Miller wasn't playing well 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. Do I think the Canucks should have kept Bo over JT? No, I wouldn't go that far. JT said, I'm focused on being Canuck today and tomorrow. Yep. OEL, lighting it up for Toronto. Regardless of what happens suspension-wise, both teams will be warned before rematch to avoid escalation. Yeah, that's true. I noticed the Miller chants aren't there anymore. Is JT the main reason for the roller coaster performances? Or are there deeper reasons? I think there's all the reasons that we talked about, injuries to key players for sure. Not having our core players in the lineup at the same time, but I'm sure that whatever JT Miller was going through in his actual absence did not help the team at all. Miller will stay after the trade deadline. JT was focused on being Canuck, but he could end the rumors by saying he won't waive. That's a good point. I don't think that's enough. I wouldn't do JT for Byron. I would want more, actually. Miller's being the better and more efficient player than Horvat. That is fair. If JT wants to be Canuck, he would exercise his no move and point would be moot. He's modified it and asked for a trade, says GGL. Do you think the Canucks are going to re-sign Talk? I think they're going to wait till the end of the season. I really do. It's hard to say between Foot and Yogi who's been good. We don't know, but we know that Talk likes them both. Horvat and Barzal are actually on an insane lineup. Good for him to make the judgment call to leave the Canucks. Well, he didn't leave. Well, the Canucks weren't going to re-sign him. JT Miller trade value is very low. Schneider and the first will get a trade done. That's fair, Bryn. Drum Inc. with a donation. Let's give some love to Drum Inc. in the chat. Finally, Drum has returned to CCC. Nice to see you. Thank you for the donation. Salute all my respect, brother. My respect to you as well. Thank you for being here. Okay, I better go to questions only. Otherwise, I'm going to fall too far behind. Do you know how much ice time JT had last game against the Oilers? Yeah, 20 minutes last night. Big step up from the 13 and 14 he was getting the previous games, for sure. Let's see, just looking for... No, I haven't seen Tom Marchand in a while. And we haven't seen Timmy Canuck in a while either. Yeah, Nicholas, I'm not sure if you're here. Some were saying that there's a bout of food poisoning going around some of the staff media, and maybe that was a reason for him, or maybe the Canucks thought it'd be too much of a distraction as well. Hey, Clay, doesn't JT need to prove all this? I don't get why Oveen starts the trade talk before asking Miller. What happens if they finalize something, but JT says not going to happen? Yeah, no, it goes both ways. Sometimes a GM will negotiate a trade, and they'll go to the player and say, will you waive for this? And you can go to the player with the deal not done, obviously, but at least the framework of a deal done, and risk it. Or so the advantage of doing it that way is if you don't come up with a good deal from anyone, a good offer, then you don't have to go to the player, and the player doesn't know any better, right? The challenge of going to him before you start and say, hey, JT, are you okay if we start fielding offers? Then right there, he already knows that you're looking to move him. So it's very tricky. I don't know. I think I've heard it go both ways for sure. Okay, back to questions. Do you think we'll get better return than a Horvat trade or similar value back? Yeah, you might thought the value, Ratu and a pick and Beauvillier, you might have thought that was underwhelming, but we turned that pick into Philip Hronek. So I think we'd get more for Miller right now, to be honest with you. Hey, Tyler. Yeah, we just talked about that. Thank you. Doug, I think I like to give Demko the benefit of the doubt. He's certainly he certainly played really well on Saturday, and he needed to. He's only played 12 games. Some might say, well, 12 games, that's enough. You're a pro, you're a Vezina guy, you should be, but none of us can empathize or can understand or appreciate fully how hard he worked to come back from that very significant injury. I don't even know what that injury is. I can't even say it still. Popliteus or Populitis, whatever. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And if he's going to play more like he did last night, then I think his head's in a good space. I really will. I really do think so. Yeah, good point that people are starting to bring up Horvat now because of the Miller stuff. Some would say that JT Miller has the leverage, that the Canucks don't have leverage because JT Miller can simply veto a trade. I think in potential it's Shilaw's, but I don't know in stats, high T, who's doing better. Byron and Benson for Miller in a second. Yeah, I'd listen to that. Clay, if you could say anything to JT Miller right now, what would you say? I would say, hey, brother. I don't know why I would go Hulk Hogan on him. Well, you know something, brother. No, I would say, JT. I can't believe I'm actually trying to predict what I'd say to JT Miller. First of all, is he going to listen to me? A 50-year-old Asian guy who just talks in front of a microphone and camera, has never played the game. But if he did listen to me, I would say, this team is a lot better with you on it. We saw the potential of this team when you and Petey and Brock and Quinn and Thatcher, I don't know why they're first name basis with these guys now. When you guys are all playing at your high level, you're locked in, Hronek's locked in, Petey's locked in, Besser probably not going to be locked in, Hughes will lock in no matter what it costs, and Demko will see. But regardless, JT, there's a lot of good pieces here. We got Valander, Lekaramaki, DPD, we got role players like Sherwood that are going to do their job. We need you, man. We need you. Let's all reminisce. Let's close our eyes and reflect on what happened last season and how close we were to beat. And I'm saying we, as if I'm part of the team. How close we were to beating the Edmonton Oilers. That's exactly what I would say to JT Miller. Do you think that would work, you guys, or have I just basically put him out the door even further? I believe in Joe Henry. Yes, I do, Justin. I don't really have a hot take right now, Kyle. There's nothing I could say. By the way, welcome. You sound like you're Japanese. Otsuji. I like that. There's nothing I could say that would be a hot take right now. Okay, now my hot take, despite everything we've heard, is that JT Miller stays. And the Canucks do not make a trade. No, I don't want Zibanejad. Do I think the Canucks benefit from cutting ties with Big Z, Lindholm, and Cole? Zadorov and Lindholm, yes. Cole, no. I think Cole sneaky was probably the most detrimental of all the absences, despite him not being the high ticket value of the other two guys. So I'm just looking for questions, you guys, because I want to wrap up in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I did hear that Jake DeBrusk-Stalker was banned from Rogers and Seattle. Besser, Miller, Demko, Petey, all trade at the deadline. Yes, that would get a lot of picks and prospects, but I don't think you do that. I want to see Lankinen still with a more bigger sample size, even more than he's done so far, and I don't trade Petey. Do I think JT has a bad attitude? I don't know. I can only see from what I observe, and let's just say I don't think it's the best attitude. I go the opposite. I get Lankinen in against Buffalo, and I go back to Demko against Edmonton. Is there a chance the Canucks management organization asked Miller to not go to Dyson Ice to protect him in the distraction? Yeah, I think there's a very good chance that happened. You think they'd group JT Miller and Besser in the trade since Besser goes UFA? No, I think that's too... if I was the other team, I wouldn't take Besser. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because you might think you have a good chance to sign him, but that's a lot of money coming back your way, right? That's 7 plus 7, 7 plus 8. That's $15 million coming your way. I think that's too much. I don't think they're going to be packaged. Oh, sorry, Jack. They're talking about other teams thinking they can steal him. Right, because you're saying are you saying the Canucks have leverage against other teams, or the Canucks don't have leverage against other teams because of Miller's no trade or no movement? Ratu and a second for Nemec. I don't think that's doing it. What WWE betrayal would you want JT to imitate to break out the Canucks? Shield. Just take a chair to Petey and Hughes. No. You guys, for those of you that don't watch wrestling, no, I do not want JT Miller to crack Quinn Hughes and Pedersen in the back with a chair, but it was a very, very iconic moment. Or it's Hogan dropping the leg drop on Savage, starting the NWO. Right. If Miller wants out, Canucks leverage is low. Agreed, for sure. Hey, Edmund, gonna stick to Canucks talk tonight just because there's so many people in here, but I think it could work out really well for both organizations. Swerve and Irvin, love these, but yeah, I'm gonna stay away from it tonight. But all those are really, really good. Yeah, Sarah is 185 on YouTube and another 650 on X, which I'm trying to stay away from, not gloating, but talking about numbers all the time. But it's big. That's the biggest show I've had in a long, long time. Your preseason prediction of Sherwood being a top performer for the Canucks has aged really well. What made you make that bold prediction? Thanks, Ryan. It wasn't super bold, but maybe I was biased because of the half Japanese thing. I thought that Sherwood, everything I read and saw from him, and admittedly, I noticed him only a little bit when the Canucks played against the Predators last playoffs. But the more I read about him and his story, I just had a feeling that he was low key. You know, obviously DeBrusk was the sexier signing, so to speak. But I thought Sherwood would be right up there, and he's done really well. Do you think fans always chanting Miller's name at games put too much pressure on him? No, actually, he doesn't. He says he doesn't hear it. I believe him. I think he tunes it out. I think that makes no difference to him, to be honest with you. Do you think JT's performance last night was a big statement on where he wants to be? Meaning he wants to be here? I think it's more that he's a professional and he stepped up when the team needed him to. That's why my preference is I still would prefer them not. So if I voted my own poll question, I do not want them to trade JT Miller, but I do think there's more than a 50% chance that they do. Yeah, thank you, Kyle. I'm half Japanese. So Imo, my late father, passed away 20 years ago now. He's Japanese, was Japanese. My mom's Chinese, so I'm half. JT Miller stealing snacks from the media catering table. I think they're going to beat Buffalo, and I think they're going to beat Edmonton to make this season even more wacky, Simon. During Petey's interview, he called Miller hot-headed. What do you think his meaning was? Sarah, not excusing Petey, but with English not being Petey's first language, and we can see that sometimes Petey to this day still struggles to find the exact word or to express the sentiment he wants to. I think hot-headed was at that time was not meant to be a negative. It was more of a compliment saying that Miller is passionate and cares. Yeah, Pedersen is in his 7th season. Reasons downfall for the Bruins. Well, they lost Krejci. That was a big loss for sure. And Bergeron. Those are big losses, right? You still have Pasternak, you still have Marchand, but they are not the same team. And I don't think their goaltending has been as strong as they expected it to be as well. Sherwood's a dog. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I know about WWE TNA. Thank you. Is there a trade deadline? Yes, first week of March for sure. If Demko rumors are also true, what is he worth currently? Hey, Whitney or Jordan, I think I don't know. The market's always soft on goaltenders, and some GMs might be spooked by his recent injury. So I don't know. He's got a good contract, $5 million for next year as well. I don't know what he's worth. Like, I always think 2 assets, but I don't think. I think it's moot. I don't think the Canucks move him. I sure hope so. I hope the Canucks start winning for sure. Noah Irvin, I've stopped doing the Facebook feed because A, there wasn't a lot of traffic on there, and B, I think StreamYard's not talking to Facebook that cleanly right now. Who do I think will win the Cup? At the start of the year, I said Dallas versus the Rangers. I think the Rangers side is not going to. I think it'll be Dallas or Vegas. Will such a trade affect season ticket sales? Depends who the Canucks get back. Laugh for Miller. As the starting points, there might be other players to make. Although I think Laugh makes $7 million or so, I'm fine with something like this. If Laugh is the basis for the deal coming back. Could the Canucks push for Panarin and trade Miller, Hogg, and a few picks? I don't think Rangers are doing that. I really don't. But yeah, it depends on what a few picks are, right? And we'll end with this one. Tommy Kipes says, I say we go 3-0-0. Beat Buffalo in regulation, scratch out Ottawa versus Edmonton and Washington going to that game. Nice. Isn't that? Oh, overtime win. So beat Buffalo in regulation, scratch out an overtime win versus Edmonton and Washington. Love it. We will take those for sure. Okay, friends, we're coming up on an hour. Thank you for being here. A huge show tonight. And I don't like to do, so this wasn't intentionally a clickbaity title. So I don't know where all the audience is coming from tonight because there's no Canucks game. But maybe you guys just like the show and you like being with other like-minded, passionate, positive Canucks fans. So whatever your motivation, I am very grateful for all of you. So don't forget my shows this week. I have my own show tomorrow night at 11. So we'll continue this discussion. Maybe we're talking about a trade, maybe we're not. And then Tuesday night will be Canucks After Dark. Thank you to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate and Coach Patrick Liu, Weight Loss Coach. And by the way, if you are new here, make sure you subscribe so you get notified on my videos. And make sure you like the video on the way out. And you can always leave a late donation as well. But if you're new here, most importantly, know that I do shows 5 nights a week at 11 p.m. Pacific time, with some exceptions, as I mentioned. But generally Sunday through Thursday, 5 nights a week at 11 p.m. I want to recognize everyone that went above and beyond with their generosity. Legendary Andrew Chang with the $14 donation. Dilo Fiasco with 10 and 5. Thank you. Drum Inc. with the $3 donation, and some schmuck named Canuck Clay who gifted 5 memberships. So thanks to all of you for your generosity tonight, for going above and beyond. And thanks to all of you for watching, liking, and subscribing. Legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Andrew Chang, Hall of Fame and franchise members. Thanks for your support as well. And there we go. A 1 hour stream with over 800 people in here at the peak. Grateful to every single one of you. And I just, last thing, I just see it on the way out. What did I see? Someone asked me why I don't think the Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup. And my answer is goaltending. I don't, I'm not a Skinner hater. I just think Vegas got a better team. I think Vegas is deeper and have a better team. It's going to be a dogfight to get out of the Pacific, though, for sure. It's going to be a dogfight to get out of the Western Conference with Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, and Winnipeg waiting in the conference final. One of those teams, not all 4, of course. Okay. A lot of people here. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the nice comments. And yeah, if you're interested in Canucks tickets, not only for the Buffalo game on Tuesday, but any games, email me, canuckclay@gmail.com. You guys are awesome. I'm awesome. Canucks are awesome. We are all awesome. Everything is awesome. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Oh, you don't forget to rate the bad joke on the way out of 10. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. By the way, what sounds like a sneeze, but it's made of leather? What sounds like a sneeze, but is made out of leather? A shoe. A shoe. God bless. God bless me. And go Canucks go. Booyah.